Welcome to Brief Briefing. Today, let's look at debt clocks. Look at them tick away. Notice how much larger the debt is versus the GDP growth, domestic product, what the countries are outputting. Guess the one the least in debt is Turkey. Very interesting. Meanwhile, in cryptocurrency, we have some gainers and we have some losers. Some of these coins I've never heard of. Rody Bank coin, Bitcoin X, Frick Set Dollar, Epic Salmon, Dynamic Supply Tracker. Now, Gift though I have heard of, up 60%. It's a project out of China. It's basically a coin you use as a gift to exchange online, kind of like Twitch. There is no trusting the US dollar. Brought to you by Hacker Noon. An update to the US dollar has failed from early 2020. The US dollar is trading at significantly lower levels since this article. As we head into the year 2021, take a look at market trends developing that we believe will mature this year with an incredible amount of activity in capital markets at the moment. Within this activity, those investors and traders who are able to make confident calls early and hold on through the flux will be richly rewarded. Today, we cover what may not only be the most fundamental change in the global financial system in 2021, but also one of the biggest financial events in our lifetime. It is the loss of trust in the US dollar. Wonder why? Nothing has been going on. Everything has been peachy creamy. Firstly, though, it is important to understand that gravity of the implication here. The US dollar is still the world's reserve currency, and in fact makes up a larger portion of strategic reserves, foreign exchange reserves today, 60.5% to be exact, than it did in 1980 through 1995, as low as 47% of total reserves in the 1990s. The mighty US dollar is also still the world's settlement currency, with the petrodollar alone accounting for somewhere around 6 trillion USD settled every day. However, the greatest market force commenting the dollar's position as the world's most important form of money may be the value of global debt markets priced in the USD. That is what cements it. In Q3 2020 alone, 65.9% of total debt in international debt markets was denominated in US dollar, which is around $878.4 billion. This averages out to 3.5 trillion USD of debt created for the year. The trust required in a financial instrument to attract this level of dominance is immense. It is not only a reflection of the power of the US economy, Debt issuance in Chinese yuan is 0.3% of total, despite an economy around two-thirds the size of the United States, but denotes trust in the US and even Western systems. Put even more bluntly, the US dollar is the system. So, what gives here? How can we make the claim that there will be a loss of trust in the US dollar with this immense dominance? First, we look at the role of money as a store of value and find that the US dollar fails to achieve this. Secondly, we look at the role of settlement layer currency as a trusted position and find the US governance system lacking. Thirdly, we look at existing trends around the US dollar, including a decline as strategic money. Last, we look at the trajectory of US policy decision making. Examining the US dollar as money and finding it lacking depends on, firstly, defining what money is. We argue that the US dollar is now currency, a means of transactional payment, as opposed to money, a store of value, although we will compare it in class of monies. This is demonstrated in the current interest rate, essentially 0% now and in the foreseeable future. So if the US dollar are money, they must be valuable to hold and lend, but they are not. Additionally, US dollars were holding their value against other assets in their class currencies, although they have not been holding value against currencies in the second half of 2020, but have not held their value against monies, Bitcoin, silver, gold, other assets such as equities or commodities. It may be why there is evidence of inflationary conditions in soft commodities and energy. And we are keeping an eye on this for consideration as part of this phenomenon. The loss of status as money has implications for using the currency as a settlement layer. The settlement layer is the final stop in a series of transactions globally into which the value of those transactions is stored. When the settlement layer is no longer money, no longer a reliable place to store value long term, other avenues will be sought. Again, these avenues include Bitcoin, silver, and gold, all of which are trading higher today by 20+% over 1 year, as well as also trading far higher over 3 and 5 years, with Bitcoin obviously trading much, much higher than other monies. And he continues on showing charts which cement his argument, because everything is losing value every second. Ethereum valuations using the Etosopia macro model. Although there are numerous predictions for the Ethereum all-time high price for the year, I believe there is no room for a reasonable price projection with fundamental analysis. I am not one or pretend to be one, so that's why I'm not using mathematical models, but qualitative indicators in this model. I will be using reputable sources to support my arguments and will also be playing my own devil's advocate against each one of my conclusions. Please feel free to reach out to me If you have any questions, disagreements, or just want to wish me a good day on Twitter at EDOSophiaBTC. Similarly, I will keep this simple and brief, so please enjoy it. It might get a bit technical at times, so please just click on the links for a quick reading on the concepts you might not be familiar with. The EDO Sophia model for Ethereum. True value derives from the usefulness of an invention to solve a problem. Similarly, Ethereum derives its value not only from scarcity. For more info on scarcity, please go there. Due to the several factors such as the explosive growth of DeFi and the future burning mechanisms EIP 1559, reducing the supply, but also from its utility use case to solve a crucial problem in the global financial market. This problem can be simplified in just a few words: eliminating third parties with the invention of smart contracts. The best counter argument against this premise is that Ethereum is too slow to get rid of third parties, and as we are experiencing right now, gas prices are skyrocketing due to the congestion of the network. Another rebuttal against Ethereum abilities to solve the third party issue is that it is not necessary to get rid of third parties in the first place. Lastly, there is another counter statement against Ethereum potential, which is thriving competitors in the space such as Cardano, Polkadot, which claim to be the next wave of blockchains. Technically, Polkadot wants to be more of a integrator. It wants to help other blockchains interact with Ethereum, and so does Cardano. They don't necessarily want to kill it, but create bridges and create like a mesh network of a system of blockchains that work together. I can make the case that the first problem is just temporary. The second one is just not true. And the third is the weakest argument of all these rebuttals. Firstly, $2B are currently being staked on Ethereum 2.0 as of Jan 5th of 2021 to solve this scalability problem. We should be seeing this issue solved in the last phase docking sometime in 2020. Secondly, third parties are incredibly bureaucratic and slow with respect to transactions and processes as top US banking regulators. As a consequence, third parties add up unnecessary costs to the bottom line and do not always pursue the best outcome for everyone. I don't even need a reference to prove this point. Lastly, Ethereum is the Tesla of blockchains. Although newcomers are trying to come up with better innovative ideas, the truth is that thanks to network effect, Ethereum has a solid ground against these other blockchains. If the best value proposition of other blockchain competitors, VeChain, Cardano, Stellar, Dot, my dog, is that they are interoperable with Ethereum and scale better, these networks won't be taking significant market share due to Google's effect. Being first in market and creating a new sub-industry where other copycats try to catch up. I could go on, But the point is that ETH 2.0 solves the third party problem, and each individual's counter argument is not strong enough against this premise. Since we agree on this now, well, if you want to agree with this, remember this is not a financial advice. And this is brought to you by Hacker Noon. Interesting arguments. For one, Grayscale has over $3.5 billion worth of Ethereum at the time of this article. Similarly, sentiment has shown that large wallets are accumulating Ethereum on chain at an exponential rate. We even have CME Ethereum future instruments launching February 8th, something that institutions are patiently waiting for. Lastly, the amount of Ethereum in exchanges has been heavily decreasing, as put in smart contracts for staking and liquidity mining, as we saw in the DeFi summer of 2020. This trend has only grown since then, and many consider this new financial system will take over the old one in this new decade. Wow, it went from being mined in a laptop to being mined in a warehouse. Incredible. The crypto rises, the future of moving money. This is brought to you by Keeftronics from Hacker Noon. Despite huge advances made in financial infrastructure, cross-border payments remain inefficient, slow, and fragmentary. The amount of toll collectors involved in trying to send payments from one country to another is ridiculous. And while it may not be cheaper, it's still faster to get on a plane with 10K, fly from NYC to London, than it is to send it from your bank. Everybody wants their cut when making an ACH or SWIFT payment, but who needs them? The digital world may be borderless, but financial products are heavily regulated by different jurisdictions, and financial institutions are incapable and unwilling to make the process any more efficient. Why would the banks and clearinghouses fix an antiquated system that allows them to milk their millions of users without any other options? Currently, SWIFT is the main bridge protocol for cross-country payments. The Brussels-based interbank cooperative manages financial messaging and transfer systems between institutions, but it's slow, expensive, and cumbersome. As things stand, SWIFT acts as a monopoly. It faces enormous challenges when dealing with 180 different countries with different political, legal, regulatory, and economic systems. The financial services community has to navigate the complexities and the operational complications that come with it. But more friction also means more fees. So they have little incentive to fix this broken system. The emergence of digital currencies underpinned by blockchain technology provides credible working alternative to today's crappy, bloated financial infrastructure and enables instant and frictionless transactions for a fraction of the cost. The transaction above from 18 months ago was for over $500 million at the time and incurred a cost of about $5 for the transaction fee. In comparison, TransferWise, a 5B unicorn, $5 billion unicorn startup that offers some of the most competitive fees anywhere for international bank transfers, would still charge you over $7,500 to transfer just $1 million. In reality, the size of the transfer has no bearing on the process or overhead for the banks. It's just an opportunity for them to build more money from their customer. Whether it's Bitcoin or the Lightning Network, Ethereum or ZK Snarks, USDT, USDC, there will be some blockchain-based digital currency that will soon disrupt the antiquated rails upon which we currently transfer money across borders. The banks will continue to hold on to the current system as long as possible, but why should users pay a percentage of the amount they're transferring when they can pay a flat rate in transaction or gas fees regardless of the size of the transaction based on the current congestion of the network? Since you pay on most blockchains, the fee is affected by how much congestion is on the network. At the end of the day, there's no difference between sending money and sending an email. Banks just charge you for the privilege and the hassle of using their antiquated system while letting you wait 3+ days for the transaction to actually execute. The end of an era. The almighty dollar. These technological changes coincide at a time of enormous geopolitical change and economic questions being asked about the role of the dollar as a reserve currency and the Eurozone's sustainability. Russia's departure from total reliance on SWIFT complements a wider effort to decouple from the US-led financial system. And it's getting pretty political, folks, but as you can see, things are happening. People are realizing, hey, this is like sending an email. Why do I have to pay this guy so much money? So you can just transfer money in a way which costs less and with an asset that retains value over time, of course. Cryptocurrency in the short term is very volatile. Intel reportedly looking to outsource chip production. Ouch. That is horrible. That is like they're giving up. I mean, they're a chip manufacturer and now they're outsourcing. That's what happens when you get rid of your factories. Intel INTC is considering the outsourcing of some of its chip production to manufacturers like Korea-based Samsung Electronics and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. For a report from Bloomberg, this is brought to you by Yahoo Finance. Intel is yet to finalize anything added the report. Citing familiar sources, Bloomberg noted that Taiwan Semiconductor's latest facility in Boashan is expected to be operational before the end of this year. The new facility, which could have over 8,000 engineers at its research center, could be utilized for Intel's production. Both Taiwan Semiconductor and Samsung have refrained from commenting on the matter at a Bloomberg. However, Bloomberg stated that Intel's spokesperson made no direct comments on the matter, but referred to prior comments made by Intel CEO Bob Swan. Swan is likely to provide investors a detailed strategy regarding the company's outsourcing plans and efforts to ramp up production technology during the fourth quarter conference call slated for January 21st, 2020, noted a reporter. Wow, that is an old source. The news from closely after the chipmaker received a letter from the Third Point LLC, which encouraged management to delve into strategic alternative to enhance performance. Third Point LLC is an activist investor fund founded by Daniel S. Loeb. That is incredible. They are outsourcing their chips. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We look for all the news to try to bring you up to date. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is purely entertainment, financial entertainment. Again, why Advanced Micro AMD could beat earnings estimate again. AMD doing it again and again. If you are looking for a stock that has a solid history of beating earning estimates and is in a good position to maintain the trend in its next quarter report, you should consider Advanced Micro Devices, aka AMD. This company, which is in the ZAX electronics semiconductors industry, shows potential for another earnings beat. This chip maker has an established record of topping earning estimates, especially when looking at the previous two reports. The company boasts an average surprise for the past 2 quarters of 13.19%. For the most recent quarter, Advanced Micro was expected to post earnings of 0.36 per share, but it reported 0.41 per share instead. Oh, wow. Quite a rise. Wow. If only there was an asset that could surpass that kind of movement. Oh, wow. Representing a surprise of 13.89 for the previous quarter, the consensus estimate was 0.16 per share, while in actuality produced 18 per share, a surprise of 12.5%. This is because their chips are excellent for computing. I mean, if you need to get anything done that requires a lot of cores, AMD is your, well, it's your chip. It'll get it done. The tech entrepreneur Elon Musk is making advanced pigs. Elon Musk facilitated the live demo to show how Neuralink mind inserts can be carefully added to a live subject with no hindrance to their well being. They're solid and glad and undefined from an ordinary pig, he said. Elon Musk is the most successful and intelligent human on the earth. Now he is the owner of SpaceX and Tesla. His first ever company, X.com, which later became PayPal, specialized in transferring money online. The online auction site eBay bought PayPal in 2002 for $1.5 billion. Elon Musk parodied his latest undertaking to let you control a PC with your psyche by demonstrating a pig fitted with embeds. The Neuralink part of his portfolio is focused on making a cyber human. He thinks that the way humans are creating artificial intelligence can be removed from the human being in the job sector. Right now, Neuralink has 100 employees. Elon Musk's company conducted tests with a hog to make the up-and-coming Cerebrum PC interface. The hog named Gertrude carefully wandered, taking care of the pen and eating food, even with an embedded put inside her nose. Here we can see what he has planned. This is likely, version 1. The end goal is always nanobots. It's always nanobots. That's the least intrusive. Look at this. They have to drill in your skull. That sounds fun. The chip looks like a large coin. If it inserts well, then humans can even see it. The Neuralink device area unit left a small scar once the electrodes were inserted within the brain. That is science. You will mine cryptocurrency one day with your brain. It's very likely. What AI advancements will mean for our daily lives in 2021. AI arguably dates to the 1950s when Alan Turing invented the Turing test. This was essentially a machine that could think for itself. Fast forward 70 years, and if sci-fi thrillers made throughout the years are anything to go by, the world is overrun by robots and human beings are now servants to machines manned. Of course, being alive currently, we know this simply didn't happen. Whether it be through lack of development or lack of funding, artificial intelligence hasn't yet managed to take over our lives completely. That said, however, AI is already a commonplace in most of our daily lives. From using voice assistants to speaking to chatbots, this type of modern robotics is helping to make lives easier. Adding to this, due to the pandemic, developers have jumped on the chance to show what AI can really do. So, it has been implemented in hospitals and homes across the globe to make life easier for the vulnerable and care staff. It has been programmed to clean and observe patients to give staff extra time for more medical-based work. But as tech keeps on growing, AI is at the forefront of development and experimentation, which means that 2021 is bound to have something great in store. And it certainly does. Biometric security is a horrible idea. That is horrible. You don't want to be that secure. You should be able to take care of your own goddamn self. I mean, really. The pandemic has driven the world online, which means consumers are now more vulnerable to hack attacks and scams. So, to protect people, biometrics will be playing a bigger role in our lives when it comes to buying online. More firms will be using facial biometrics to confirm that a customer is who they say they are. Adopting this method of authentication will help tackle cybercrime and fraud. And good luck with that. Sounds like it violates human rights. Good luck with that. Doing it in any country with whatchamacallit, Bill of Rights. But then again, it could happen anyways, since it's not really upheld most of the time. Although a lot of us rely on fingerprint biometrics to unlock our devices, the pandemic has made us all ultra aware of how much germs travel. People are now realizing that although fingerprint biometrics have served us well for years, perhaps they aren't the most hygienic. And so developers are now moving towards touchless biometrics. Again, this involves things like facial or eye scanning. However, although things like palm vein biometrics are thought to be the security of the future, it's the development of the touchless fingerprint that could be dominating 2021. Smart cities will be the new norm. That sounds horrible. Next-gen open blockchains are building new DeFi security and privacy standards. The massive 40 million hack of Binance by a scam DeFi project is the most recent reminder that no corner of cyberspace is safe from cyber thieves. With a rise in fraudulent DeFi projects and coins, users are understandably more concerned about data protection and privacy. The increase in data breaches begs the question, can the financial services industry regain control of online data? So far, traditional financial services providers have failed to win the battle against cyber thieves. Unsurprisingly, the decentralized finance industry has become the newest target. Users of DeFi platforms have lost money and data to breaches and fraudulent activities by the platforms themselves. Fraudsters, after all, follow the money. The amount of financial assets flowing into DeFi applications has exploded this year. In DeFi, data privacy invaders may have met their match. Next generation blockchain technology is building smart security solutions on open, privacy preserving protocols. Can open finance close out bad DeFi actors? Like DeFi fraud is borderless, making data privacy all the more important. In the last few months, regulators froze $2.3 billion in funds of a top 10 crypto exchange for 5 weeks. U.S. security regulators sued a $92 million crypto arbitrage hedge fund for falsifying fund exchange balances. And a Chinese investment site was closed down after investors lost $2.5 billion in a Ponzi scheme. As is often the case, investors were left in the dark about any financial irregularities until access to their financial services or wallet was blocked. The information asymmetry is surprising, given the transparency, immutability, and traceability of blockchain transactions. All participants, the financial service providers and users, should have access to the same information. Beyond transaction management, financial services on the blockchain has remained a black box. What's missing from DeFi is synchrony of all financial functions with the transparent public blockchain infrastructure. Fully transparent and synchronous financial services. When all financial functions are placed on a smart contracts on the digital ledger, true information, asymmetry, and transparency will be achieved. The blockchain becomes the financial institution. Imagine an exchange or lender providing its solvency, a fund accounting for all fund flows, or an investor with an universal digital identity reporting credit defaults transparently on the blockchain. This information would be publicly audible yet confidential at the same time. The blockchain can deliver this more transparent financial services world, but currently its full potential is significantly underutilized. The next gen blockchain infrastructure, distributed fully participative consensus. Layer 1 is the consensus protocol. The financial institution is still vulnerable to corruption of influence, is not distributed fairly among the network participants. And it is mentioning another country again that I do not really want to talk about. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a brief briefing. Like, subscribe. Have a good one. And till next time.